everyone, and welcome back to the Unbothered podcast, where we like to break down America's fifth sport, MTV's The Challenge. And today we have a special guest with us, originally from Road Rules and a Challenge alum that we got to see back on this season of All Stars, the one and only Miss Ayanna Mackins. Welcome. Cheer.
Yay. Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So,
yeah.
As we just saw, you just were in a final on the first season that you've been back on in 17 years.
Yeah.
You've had 4 kids since we saw you 17 years ago. What were your expectations when you were going into the season? And what did you think when they called you for All Stars?
Man, I thought it was a scam. I was like, we got so many things out here with the internet. And I think y'all just calling all these reality people trying to, game our heads up and get our social security numbers. Like, I was an old lady on the phone, truly, thinking it was a scam. But the very first time they called me is actually for season 1. But I had COVID, and my whole family, we all had COVID. That was December of 2020. And so, having COVID was kind of like a good excuse as well, because I really wasn't confident that, my body being in the shape that it was at the time. I think at the time I was a solid 230, 240, and had just started exploring my weight loss journey. And so, having COVID kind of gave me that whole, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I had put it in the back of my mind. But when they called me a second time, I was like, man, this is in the cards right here. Let's go ahead and get serious and try. So, I won the day I got off the plane, at the secret location, which we now know is the Mayan Riviera of the beautiful country of Mexico. So, I won.
So they kept it a secret? You didn't know where you were going?
Nope.
No?
Nah, man. And that's crazy, when you have kids, to not be able to tell someone where you're going. But at the same time, it's a blessing that, I had the kind of support system at the time that could weather that.
Nice. Well, I think that's why people like All Stars a lot too. And because you're not gone as long.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look, I haven't been gone in 17 years. So, I have she's now 4 years old as of December. And then I have she's almost 2. She'll be 2 in March. So, at least for the last about 5 years, I haven't gone very much of anywhere. I had an opportunity to go on a semester at sea reunion with most of my castmates to celebrate our 20-year anniversary of being on the ship, along with all of the rest of our shipmates. So that was wonderful. But other than that, I really hadn't traveled in a very, very long time, let alone to, leave my young children for an extended period. So, like I said, I won when I got off the plane. I was like, it's just me? It's not everybody.
So
I don't have a diaper bag. I just have my bag with my stuff in it. I don't have any snacks, no gold in it. No random foods that you stop eating around 6 years old. I don't have none of that with me. Shoot, I won. Just
adult time.
So,
I mean, were you nervous at all, when you were going on the plane, or even when you just came off? No, even a little bit.
No, I was living my best life from the moment that I got into. I think I took an Uber to the airport. No. That's not accurate. A friend of mine drove me to the airport. From the moment that I got out of his car and went to the air and went into the airport, I was full face. I had never had my full face done before. And my niece, she does lashes, and she does all kinds of makeovers for people in North Carolina. So she came up all the way from North Carolina. She's like, girl, this is a once in a lifetime thing. You need to go ahead and get the war paint on. So she did my full face. I was ready to go. I was like, if we drop tomorrow, I'm camera ready. Let's go.
I love it.
We didn't start filming for a whole week and a half. So, So my cute face, the people on the plane got to see it. I got to see it. But man, I was ready. I was ready. I was so ready. I'm still ready, to just embrace whatever life has for me coming forward that's positive, especially
So you do it again.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially now. Like now that I'm in my rhythm of like being in shape again and being athletic and all of that, like that was the
Well,
one link. That was the sneaky
kind of,
link.
yeah, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I saw that you had credited Darrell for like helping you get in shape. How did that come about?
Yeah, there's so much footage that you guys don't get to see, and I definitely think that it gives a a good opportunity for like them to consider doing like a challenge All Stars uncut for season 1 and season 2, just a little hidden
Yeah.
things that y'all didn't get to see. But I had a specific conversation with Darrell, Janelle, who had just sat me down, and we're just talking about like Janelle, she's had children and she's also a medical professional. So, she gave a lot of insight around, just her journey and what she went through. And then, Darrell is a, again, certified bona fide personal trainer.
Yeah.
And even though, in terms of, my position and where I'm at, he normally works with, clients that are a little bit of a, higher, I guess you could say, social status or echelon. But, the fundamentals of what physical fitness look like, that's universal. So many times I think for people that are like battling their body changing at a certain age, it's truly lack of information. It's lack of really having those specific conversations about some of the things that you may be facing. And he looked me dead in my eye the same way that he looked Janelle in the eye right before the final, like, girl, you better get your back together. He looked me in my eye and he said, it's possible. If you choose to commit to it fully, 100%, without any kind of excuses that you're going to make around it, he's like, it's more than possible. And he, it gave me that little deep daddy look, like, come on, let's go. Darrell's a champion for a reason. And I think a lot of that champion mindset comes out in the way he speaks to people. He doesn't waste words. And so, that moment for me was a cornerstone. Like as soon as I got off the plane coming back home, it was like, okay, I'm gonna take 2 days to let these mosquito bites and these bug bites, I'm gonna let them go down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the doctor and have him give me the once over, make sure I'm good. And I got to get out there, and I need to just for me, not even necessarily for the challenges, but more so for just having a robust life post 40. And to be here for my kids and my grandkids. We're in the middle of a pandemic where having a strong immune system is essential to just, being able to access life and enjoy, everything, especially salads. So,
Yeah.
that moment with Darrell, a few moments with other cast members, you start to hear the echoes of the advice that they give post experience. So that's, again, I credit him with a huge chunk of that because, like I said, he didn't have to do that. He could just set off to the side like, okay, whatever, but he didn't. He offered, he offered that sage piece of advice and that encouragement. And I mean, I'll thank him forever for that.
That's awesome. We
That
love
is-
Darrell.
We do.
I'm a big fan of his, so.
I need him to look me in my eye and tell me the same thing because I got my own
Right?
struggles. Come on.
I need somebody
He
to
is
just kick
welcome
my ass
to.
in gear.
Yeah. Right. Just kick me right in the ass and get me on that path. And speaking of that, like when you said getting off the plane, you felt like you were already winning. Who were you most excited to meet of your new castmates?
Meet or see?
Both.
Oh,
Well, y'all already know. Like my partner that I went to the finish line with, the moment that I saw
With the scepter?
Oh gosh, girl, yes. I've been in the house for 2 years. Been in the house with 4 kids for 2 years. But one of the things, one of the reasons why I got excited, and not to be too silly and dwell on that particular part of it, which was a beautiful thing. Tech for me, when you go back in time, he's a part of that whole Road Rules Semester at Sea experience for me post show, because his show, with Amaya and Ruthie and their whole crew, they were on at the same time as that we were on. So the very last time I saw Mary Ellis Bunham was, in the same space that he was, and there was a rap party for both shows, and they brought everybody together. And like I just recently shared pictures with folk from that, with Cy and a few other people, but man, like, because I've had that in a box for like 20 years. So
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I got a lot of little secret receipts in there. I've been questioning about, whether or not to pull some of them out. But that being said, I've chosen to give some folk some things from that box. Just because, there's no joy brought to it if it's sitting in there, collecting dust. But yeah, seeing Tech, it definitely for me was a full circle moment, because it just took me back to my youth and crushing and all of that, and that was good. I was excited to see Kendall, like, for the first time in person, because I'm kind of a fan, like, what, Kendall, is resilient. She's strong. She's been through things. She's been through being put in the elimination arena a bunch of times. So, because I hadn't really watched all the challenges coming up to season 2. I'd only caught little snippets and I caught little pieces, but I hadn't like binge watched, because like I said, I got 4 kids and we got this one big TV behind us. So it's like, if it's about mama watching what she want to watch and us watching, Coco Melon, sometimes Coco Melon, takes precedent, for me to just have a peace of mind for a few hours. So, I went in kind of naive, not knowing the culture of the challenge, but I think that also worked to my benefit, because I didn't have any filters. I wasn't sitting back trying to play certain routines and rituals, because I didn't have them. And I think that's what
got you to a final.
No, I just think this is what a lot of people like about the season, because if you look at this band of pirates that have come together, a lot of us didn't have that history of being on the newest challenge, over and over and over again. So we're really bringing a lot of vulnerabilities. We're bringing like our full self to that moment, whatever that happens to be. Case in point, Tyler, he gave us all of who he is. He gave us, a matter of fact, he gave us somebody else too. He gave us 2 people. We get Tyler and we get Tundra, and for me, I had the pleasure of getting, the 3rd version of Tyler as well, because we had these intense conversations about him being an educator and educating people in his home community in North Dakota about, just history and having dialogues with young people. And so we connected there. So I got a chance to see 3 Tylers. I saw Party Tyler, I saw Tundra, and I saw Dr. Duckworth. Like, I always slip that in for him. I'll be like, okay, Dr. Duckworth, and he gives me the cut eye. But he really is at that level where, all he has to do is say, okay, this is something I want to put on my bucket list to get this PhD. And he, just has that level of scholarship and his ability to communicate in that world. He could just go get it, and it wouldn't be a factor. It'd just be, okay, well, what's your thesis topic going to be? What's your dissertation going to be about? Because he's just that kind of dude. And I appreciate just being around folk, that are at that space in their lives. So, you got that happening, and you got Derek and everything that's happening with not only him returning to, in a sense, vindicate himself from, previous challenges when he was a lot younger, but then he's also battling this, home situation, with his sister. So, for all intents and purposes, we don't have to go into a magic hat of trickery to make a good story for y'all, because, just our authentic lives are that. So, I treasure this experience. I treasure it. I don't know if it could ever occur in the same way. I think our cast is special. I think everybody thinks their cast is special, but I think this was special. I really do.
The fans
it was
love
fantastic. Mm-hmm. We loved
Yeah.
it.
Trust me, it was
Absolutely.
very entertaining.
Very much so. And obviously we see you going into the first elimination. You're going against Leah. You absolutely smash it. I mean, those coffins were nothing for you. They were like floating on
Right.
water. And, you know, Leah really, really, really struggled. And then you go over to help her finish it. You know, Nehemiah helps, Derek's helping from the sidelines. It's a moment that causes a lot of us fans to definitely shed some tears because we don't get that very often anymore. And it was just like, this is so amazing that you can't write this. Was it just something that came to you in the moment when you just
Nah,
kind of saw her struggling?
nah. I mean, we talked about, of course, we didn't plan it out because you don't know what's going to go down in the arena in terms of what you're going to be asked to do. But we had talked about, okay, no matter what happens, we're going out on shoulders. We're going to ensure that, if it's your day, I'm going to clap you up. If it's my day, you're going to clap me up. Like, we are going to have this moment where we support each other. Now, that's easy for somebody to say before you get into the mix, right? Because then the reality of having, $500,000 on the line is just right there in front of your face, when you're in that bullpen area. It's like, okay, now this is what was that? Billie Jean King, I think. Not Billie Jean King. It was like The Legend of Billie Jean. It was an 80s movie. And she
Oh,
shaved
yeah.
her head. Yeah, Helen Slater. She shaved her head. She's like,
Yeah.
it's a do or die situation. We are invincible. Like, that was playing in my ears. I'm like, I wanna want to be innocent. Yeah, stand up and face the enemy. Like, all of that's happening. So your niceties kind of, I don't want to say go out the window, but you can't really, say what you're going to do in the moment. When I finished and noticed that she was, still trying to open the carabiner. Just my mom intuition, my woman intuition. It was like, you know what? Anxiety is catching the best of you, but this isn't all of you. This isn't who I saw when we sat by the pool talking about, our struggles as single moms. And when she told me her story about what she wants to do for Griffin, and I told her what I'm trying to do for my Madison, my Sadiq, my Ife, my Ileana. I was like, the world's gonna see what I saw. Full stop. Like, you ain't going out with the world not seeing that. And not if I got anything to do with it. Just because, she didn't have to share any of that with me. She could have just, sat off and kind of been in her world, which, may not have included somebody like me or from my station in terms of the challenge, right? She didn't have any reason to open up to me, but she chose to do that. And, I felt obligated to keep my word. I also wanted to see if it was like, is everything all right? Like, do we need to reset this? Do we need to do this over again? Like, is something stuck, something glued to the ground? Like, look, if I'm gonna win, this is gonna be my first win. I'm gonna go down in history as winning something. I want to win it. Like, I don't want it to be no funny style, no question. Like, that's it. If we gotta reset, go back to the beginning. Let's, you know what I mean. If it's for me, it will be for me. Full stop. And then you guys got the chance to see how that unfolded. I'm very humbled that the production decided to include it because they didn't have to. But they made a choice to include that moment and share that with the world. And it's something I'm proud of. It's something, the relationship with her moving forward is something I'm even more proud of, which I'm not going to see maybe, because I think as parents and anyone else struggling through trying to guide young people through this new normal, it's new for them and it's new for us. Like, we don't have parents that are like, that went through this. Remember that time when you went through your version of the pandemic? No, we are the new, parents that are trying to figure all this out. And so, the fact that I got a sister in that walk and that struggle is something I cherish forever. So, yeah, that's what I got on that.
I have
That's
to
beautiful.
say, don't take this the wrong way, I wasn't always a fan, but that moment, I just fell in love with you. So, and then now I follow you on Instagram, and I just think you're so, I don't know, you're so cute on there and happy and positive. I love it.
Yeah, you gotta be nowadays, you
Yeah.
gotta cherish your moments. There's so many, times in the last 2 years where, I've had to cry and I've been compelled to be sad and compelled to be mad, you know, braid gate, salad gate, whatever else. That is dystopian compared to some of the circumstances that me and my family have been faced with in the last 2 years. From kids that I've seen grown up, be gunned down in the street less than a block from our house. From COVID and losing several family members to it. My most recent family member, like 3 days ago. It's like when you start to compare and contrast what's important to really be upset about, hands down, these other things trump anything that, I could come up with on a reality show, for me. But at the same time, I didn't want to let what was going on outside the show keep me from having fun and keep me from like just living in the moment for better or for worse. Whether you agree or disagree with whatever I did, just be very much so aware that this is like my once in a lifetime thing to be able to try this. Like, I didn't care about being rude for eating an old salad. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna eat it. That's it. I didn't care about my stomach flopping all over the place while I'm jumping on a trampoline. When do we get a chance to be free like that as adults? When we're 6, you can jump off the big slide. You can go up the wrong way and it's okay. But when we get to be adults, everybody starts putting all these boundaries on themselves and they put themselves in a box. And I didn't want to do that for me. Like I said, I've been in an apartment for 2 years with 4 kids, and I'm. It helps me rest real easy at night to know that I didn't leave. I got nothing that I can go back and say I didn't do what I wanted to do. I didn't. I left something behind. I don't have anything that I need to redo or anything else. Everything from this point or that point forward is icing on the cake. So,
Exactly.
but I'm glad that you like me a little bit now.
Thank you. I like you a lot now.
And I think a lot of fans loved you after that first elimination, and then we went a little when Braidgate happened, because they were like, wait a minute, it's like a total 180. And I just kind of want to know, because like you said, there's a lot of things we don't see. And when you ended up nominating her in your place for elimination because you had the life shield, like, was that all because of the argument that happened during braiding, or was there more to it that we just didn't see?
Well, I think it's a comfortable medium between those two. There's always going to be something that the audience doesn't see because it's 45 minutes, right? And we're talking about several days. But the best way that I can bring it to a summary is that when you're in that kind of circumstance and someone shows you that their loyalty is not with you, that their loyalty is somewhere else, and that they be willing to put you out there socially in such a way that you wouldn't be well received by your peers. I'm sorry, like for me, I had to go ahead and put the armor up because what you guys see is someone expressing her needs, wants, and concerns to someone else, and to someone else, and to someone else, to all these other people that I may potentially have to work with or whatever, but you don't come to me straight. You don't come to me with any kind of understandings. And I kind of felt like a duck, just like a sitting duck, So in that circumstance, I felt like I had to protect myself, and ensure that somebody that might be gunning for me, I had to go ahead and neutralize that threat, and for better or for worse, I think sometimes people can use tears to elicit sympathy. But if your tears, like if you could cry in 1 second and you saying fuck you the next, at the end of the day, I think the fuck you was there first. The tears was just, the dressing to that real turkey. hierarchy of, fear and anxiety. Once you go into the arena, and I'll leave it with this, who else should have gone in but her? And that's the question I want to leave with the fans. It's like, okay, should Casey have gone to her place? Should Kendall have gone to her place? Should any other women on our team have gone to her place? Should that choice of who went in, should it have been left to some guys that were, doing things with fingers behind their back, or as someone who earned my life shield, like I earned it. I went to elimination. I came out. I earned it. It was mine. Should I have not used that and gone in myself?
Good point.
Now. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Exactly.
Oh no, I would totally expect you to use it.
Yeah.
I would have been like, no, I'm not letting her make the decision
The
because my
point of
fate's in her
having it if
hands.
you're not going to use it, right?
Yeah. So the long and short of it, we came to play. And once your name's up there on that board and you walk into that elimination arena, that moment is yours to do with whatever you're going to deal with it, So, at the end of the day, it was Jody's day, and, she came out on top. And if you go back to that elimination, you can really look at it and you can see opportunities where it could have been either one of their days. There were some missed opportunities for that to have shifted in a very different direction. And if it had shifted in a different direction, we would have been telling a completely different story right now. She would have gotten her first elimination win ever. Jody would have not advanced forward at all. It would have been a completely different show, possibly. Salad-gate would have never gone down. So that's the beauty of the challenge, You're put in these circumstances where you are compelled to show up. And then you have to give viewers whatever it is you got or nothing at all.
Well, and I think we as fans, it's hard for us we're not in that situation. We're not in a house with a whole bunch of other people and we're competing and it's stressful and people aren't cleaning and, we're not in that situation. So I'm sure it's different. It's a different headspace if you're there too. So,
yeah, and it's crazy. Like, you ever have a job where as soon as you're like not on that gig anymore, I was a contractor for many years, so I'll use that term job and gig interchangeably, no shade to anybody's way of making a living. But have you ever been on a job and as soon as that gig is over or that job is over, you sit back and you're like, why was I so concerned about that Excel sheet or that meeting that, I didn't take the notes for or didn't read the agenda for or whatever. When you're in that moment, there are certain things that are so important to you that the moment that the circumstances change become irrelevant,
Right.
I think it's the same thing for the challenge. While we're in it to win it, that board whose name's up there matters.
It's very true.
And who votes for you matters, side conversations. It's crazy like to be on the periphery of them and hear people talking about, and in challenge 19, this person voted for me and these two people didn't vote for me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, y'all remember that? Like, y'all remember who did and didn't do? And y'all filed that away like as information that matters, And it creates a very unique set of dependencies, if that makes any sense, on what will then impact how you experience that whole challenge circumstance. So, I'm here for it though. Like, I had a good time. I don't know if I could even get away with having that kind of a good time again, because now like folks are like, all right, we see how you roll now. So
yeah, they will not leave out any salads.
No,
or they might leave them out on purpose. Like, okay, yeah, we're gonna
try to trap you
on that joint. Try to trap me.
I'm gonna catch her now. See if she shows up to deliberation.
Go ahead, put some laxative on it. I like a smooth move. Make me lighter on my feet. So.
When you went into that deliberation, were you planning on being like, you know what? I'm gonna just tell Jody it was me, and I'm gonna make it a better moment than I slept in my jersey again.
Well, okay. So about that, You ever get caught in a situation where you do something really small and then someone else does something small and then you try to out small them and it just mushrooms into something that's a whole lot bigger? Well, that's kind of what that was. It's no secret that on the challenge we're provided with, food from production. But there's also opportunities for those that, have means to order outside and they can bring things in. Well, what was happening, and by that time we'd been there for several weeks, people who had means, they might order 4 or 5 things and just have them leaving around and maybe eat them, maybe not eat them. And then those of us that were kind of dependent upon, whatever the catering put out, um, you know, we were there, right? Some people have certain things about food, and I'm one of those people, as someone that has dealt with, weight challenges, I'll look at the really bad thing that I shouldn't eat, and I have to literally talk myself off the ledge. Like, okay, if you eat that, it's going to do this to your body and that to your body. You need to go ahead and step away now, drink some more water. I go through a whole process when it comes to food. So to have that beautiful, lean salad just sitting there, something I can eat, I can eat that.
Yeah.
And it was like glistening in the moonlight, It was like
calling to you.
He was calling me, and it was unloved, and it had been there for like 2 hours, like just sitting there, not open, but it was closed. It was a container, and it had a big J on the top, for Jody. I was like, man, she ain't gonna eat this salad, man. I'm gonna just, enjoy this moment, enjoy the moonlight, enjoy the pool. Imagine I got a fine dude next to me, just go off into my own little fantasy land. But it didn't happen like that. She came looking for a salad while I was, clean after I'd eaten the salad. And I was cleaning up because I was just like, oh, this is some shit, man. I'm not going to have these folks cleaning up behind all of us, Plus, I had been sitting out there already for a while. I didn't want them to think that I was, just leaving shit around. And I was kind of upset with people in the house, too, for just being messy. So I'm cleaning stuff up. Jody asked me where a salad is. And it's how you ask somebody sometimes. It's how you ask something. So in that moment, one thing leads to another. And for her, it causes her to go back in the house and start talking to everybody else, doing something similar, to what Sophia did. You talk to everybody but me about me, and that don't ever rub me the right way. But Ayanna at 43 versus Ayanna at 23, I kind of can sense when you're trying to throw a worm on a hook at me and trying to, snag me into the he said, she said, rah, rah, rah. So when Jazzy comes out, with some information that wasn't 100%, I'm like, oh, okay, let me make sure that my battery's getting low. But anyway, I was like, yeah, let me make sure that I, protect Jazzy and try to not let her get in the middle of it. But, Jazzy's hot fire, hot tamale firecracker. So she's like that cousin who you love that, you'll know your cousin gonna get loud, but you just got to keep on telling your cousin, like, look, it ain't about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. So even when she told me that I wasn't her mama, in that moment, like, I wanted to just clap it up because her comeback was like just so cool. I was like, damn, that was a damn good comeback. If you wasn't saying that to me, I would have been like, and what she said, right? But in that moment, I just kept it moving. I just kept trying to, create space and distance because I was like, this ain't really what we're not here for that. Because, that occurs other places. I can be a little bit smarter about this. So I did. It was intentional. I was like, you know what? After we do the vote today, whatever, I'm going to come clean about her salad. I'm going to try to do it in the funniest way possible because I want to try to break the tension in the house. Because that's the one thing, too. If you make somebody laugh, even if they're mad at you, it mutes it tones it down a little bit. It makes you less of a evil person and more of an asshole. So I'll take asshole over evil any day. You could come back from asshole. You can't really come back from like eternal damnation and evilness. So it's hard to come back from.
It was very funny.
And it worked. I think. Yeah, I mean, she texted today. She texted me today. She's like, I'm eating Greek salad. And I was like, ha, ha, ha.
Darrell cracking up. Darrell was cracking up. Yeah. They showed his face and he was cracking up. It was funny. Tech didn't seem too happy though.
Although in his confessional,
he told me to shut up. He told me to be quiet.
Yeah,
like, shut up. And I didn't. He's absolute. Like, I'm telling you, every single one of his confessionals was spot on.
Yeah,
everyone was spot on. And I definitely see us. We're like the brother and sister that are like, we ride for each other, but we be doing this all the time. Yeah, but I got a lot of love for that man. He's a creative spirit, creative soul. Got a good heart. So, but yeah, I still had to get my jab in. But I was quiet for a little while. But he was like, I told you to be quiet the whole time. You wouldn't be.
I mean,
I was like, no, I wasn't.
To be fair, the voting was done, so anything that was said after doesn't really matter.
Right?
There we go.
Fair game. And it's good that Jody can joke about it now. So, I mean, it was just a salad. It's okay. There's always more salads.
All y'all fans out there that are like, down with Ayanna, she's a thief, she's evil. I'm not a thief. I'm not evil. I'm not coming near your house and taking your Crocs. Okay? You don't need to turn the ring camera on for me. I'm not taking your Amazon packages. But I might eat your food.
Just don't leave out your Greek salad. Don't leave out your salads, your fruits.
You don't leave out a fruit salad. That's all fair game, You can leave out a hamburger.
You had the two most talked about moments of the whole season. So obviously the first one was with Leah and then the salad. So yeah, good for you.
Well, actually 3, including the confessional about Tech's scepter.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So that's like how you opened up the show. And we were like, all right, we know this is going to be good.
Well, listen, the thing is this, like I said, I didn't have nothing to lose. Other people married and they got situations at home, or the last time they've been on a show, they had controversial, stuff happening as it relates to, I have nothing to lose. I got 4 kids at home, been in an apartment for 2 years. I'm a look. I'm gonna look at the naked man jumping in the pool. And anybody want to sit here? That's why I wish Leah was on this podcast with me, because she keep it real. Because Leah was looking. We gonna look at the fine naked man jumping in the pool. That's come on now.
I mean,
I know we in the politically correct age, and I get it. I deeply feel the struggle and the oppressions of folks that go through the things that they go through around that. I'm gonna look at the naked man in the pool.
As you should.
If anybody said they didn't look, they would be lying.
They'd be lying. I'm sure even the dudes looked.
Absolutely.
They had to compare and contrast.
If he didn't want you to look, he wouldn't have thrown it out there.
Exactly. That sounds so bad, because when you talk about like this double standard, that's, you look at most of these Me Too conversations and whatnot. There is a sub conversation of people should be able to bear their skin in certain ways and it not be sexualized or whatever. And I get that. All I ask is that for anyone that is like seriously go hard down that road, remember it is the Challenge All Stars. Tech is cool with it. He's fine with us kind of objectifying him. In a way, he was kind of doing community service for some of us. It's been a minute.
We actually talked to him last week. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is fantastic. And speaking of you and Tech, obviously you guys on that one swimming challenge ready to jump off the giant cliff, you had to choose a partner. Little did you all know it was your partner for the rest of the season. And were you excited to be partnered with Tech for the rest of the season? Or were you like, I wasn't expecting this? Would you have made a different decision?
No, absolutely not. It's funny because Johnny Fairplay on his podcast, he was like, I would have had to jump over somebody. Somebody would have to jump over me if I was going to choose a partner. I would choose you. And that's kind of how I also feel about Tech. I couldn't, even if every single person that had gone home in previous eliminations, like if they had us picking partners from day one, there ain't nobody else that I would have wanted to be my partner through this. Hindsight 2020, I definitely would love, to be a partner with Darrell just from the sheer fact, his experience and, just kind of seeing how he dealt with that whole situation with Janelle, when she was kind of feeling, second guessing herself in terms of her injury. That's the kind of like coach that I've had in the past where they're just like, all right, I'm gonna listen to what you have to say, but I'm not going to, mollycoddle you. I'm not going to baby you. I'm going to say, all right, take your aspirin, do what you got to do, but we still got work to do. And I respond well to that. But yeah, I'm like, I can't go back and say, could, Derek have been my partner or Brad or Nehemiah or whatever. Because Nehemiah was my partner, for one of the challenges. He's a fierce competitor. Like I would never like have any doubt in my mind that if he was my partner, like going into a final, that he also would be an awesome partner to have. But for my memory's sake, for my heart's sake, for the fun's sake, everything else, like Tech number one. And I'm glad that I had that memory.
And I loved you guys as a good combo. And I think he said he liked either having you or having Kendall as a partner, because he was like, Kendall, I could carry her. Ayanna, she could carry me if she needs to. So I knew we'd be set. And I was like, you know what? I hear you. And obviously you guys make it to the final. It's the first final Tech has ever done. Was it your first final?
Mm-hmm.
Your first final. There was a lot of first timers in this final, which I kind of like, because it's like, it's a toss up. Like you don't know what could possibly happen. And we see you guys, of the three phases that they show, or the three checkpoints, you guys chose the bike one as your first checkpoint. Knowing what you know now, would you have not chosen the bike first?
I would have not chosen the bike first. Oh my, that was the that's
hours, right? To ride the bike.
It was a tremendously long time.
Yeah.
A tremendous amount of time, because every time we would go out to the first checkpoint, because there was actually a second checkpoint that was like way far out for just one of the pieces. And I think they showed it, but I don't know with the cuts, like how that story gets, I'm not certain like how that story is told with the cuts. But all that being said, newfound appreciation for people that are triathletes. I've done one triathlon once in my life, and it was like a mini triathlon for moms that the YWCA had done. And, it was like, 3 miles in the pool. It was, 5K run and like a 10-mile bike ride on roads, like on paved roads. Newfound appreciation for people that really get out there and do like biking in woods on terrain, because there's just certain elements of that kind of physical activity that I think when you haven't done that, you just don't really know how to, navigate your body through persisting through something like that. So you overextending when you probably should not be overextending, and vice versa. I now have bike. I now have bikes, plural, here in the house. So it's like it opened up something for me that I didn't have much experience in at all prior to, that is now giving me a new awareness with biking
Nice.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking back on it, I probably would have wanted to do one of those memory puzzles first. Because by then, we were so, being up all night on the logs, being sleep deprived, all of the electrolytes and the water that's expended with being in the sun, doing all that biking back and forth. Um, my brain was scrambled eggs, by the time that we finished the first activity. So, definitely, I would say lessons learned, but you never know how it's gonna go. Like with Darrell and Janelle trying to use a flashlight.
Right.
I was in the house. I watched it when you guys watched it. Like I didn't see like any of these other parts of it, and how close everyone was to, throwing in the towel. I think if I'd have known how close everybody else was throwing in the towel, I may have waited till somebody else did it first. But by the time y'all see me really be honest about what was happening with my body and like saying, nah.
What were you going through? Just the dehydration, pain?
Mhm.
What was, yeah.
It was really the dehydration. It was really feeling my body just, starting to just.
And it was hot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like over 100 degrees. But it's one thing to be outside for like 25 minutes or even 30 minutes in that kind of heat, but we were out like we never went back in anywhere from the moment that we were at the elimination. We were never back inside something until
Right.
the end of that. So like I said, I pushed myself way farther than I thought I could have ever gone. But when I started seeing spots, like that's always something for me. Like if I'm seeing spots, I'm seeing little fireflies fluttering in my vision. That's for me like a sign of, you know what?
Well, we as fans too, you hear people they're like, oh, they give up or they quit or whatever. I couldn't get through a single elimination, much less get to a final and like do any of that. So, more power to you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I have a lot of respect for all the competitors in general because it takes a lot physically and mentally to do these challenges and the eliminations and especially the final. So, hats off to all of you.
I would complain if I was just sitting in a chair in 100-degree weather. Be like, I'm done. I'm going in.
Trust me, I complain walking to my car when it's 100 degrees and humid in the Baltimore summer. Like, I couldn't imagine having to run through it for a whole day.
Exactly. Yeah, even like to your point, the women's triathlon was in Frederick, Maryland, and like up near Gaithersburg. So since you're familiar with the area, it was nice. It was like springtime, so it's cool, airy, cool weather, nice rolling hills. But I'm hungry for it now. Now that I could see how far I could get, being a neophyte and not knowing what I'm doing. Now I've been like watching Tough Mudders online and I've been reading different articles and, because we're in a pandemic, it makes it a touch more challenging to find these in-person experiences. At the same time, it's like my interest is tweaked now. I'm like, this is a whole nother thing that I didn't even see myself doing at this stage in my life that I think can be a source of joy for me, even outside the challenge, but just, pushing myself to a different space and seeing what my body can do post all these children and whatnot. So
that's amazing. Good for you.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
I hope I'm like that after I have kids. Because, I mean, sometimes women just like, I have friends who struggle themselves after having kids and just like finding themselves again. in their own bodies and being comfortable. And I look at them like, oh my God, like I don't have kids yet. I'm terrified. But to see that there are women who have these kids and they're like, I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm going to find myself back to where I want to be. I'm going to embrace this more mature, more womanly part of myself. I'm going to be even stronger. And it's inspirational.
Yeah. I mean, and I think too, just to give credit to where credit's due, being in this, small space with teenagers, my oldest is like 15. My son will be 14 this year. My son's a distance runner and he's pretty good. The moment that we were in the woods one day and I had the little ones and they were all playing this little game and he was playing like keep away and he had taken his stick and was running and I told the little, one of the little kids, I was like, I'm going to go get your stick. And it was the first time that I really realized how fast my son was because I couldn't catch him. And what that does to your ego, I'm like, you came out of me and I can't catch you. And like, and I was like pushing myself as hard as I could go. And I would get real, real close to him. And then he would just be like, pew, and take off. And, and I'm like, I'm your mama and I can't catch you. Like that was doing something in my head. Like I don't know. Because if there was no pandemic, I probably wouldn't care. I'd be like, okay, my son is fast. Let me just go on about my business, whatever I'm doing in my life, right? My social world. But when you extract that whole social world, you extract all of these other things that give you this dimension to your life, he becomes my competition. A little bit, like, what? You're faster than me now? 13-year-old? Okay, so you are in the youth national track and field track meet. I'ma still find a way to like be able to catch you.
What did he say about that?
Oh, he just laughed. He just laughs.
He's like, all right, Mom, whatever.
He's like, whatever. He's like, whatever. Even now, like I told him, I'm like, look, I've lost some weight since I've been on the challenge. I've been working out. I was like, I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna get you, man. I was like, I'm working out every day now. I'm gonna get you. He doesn't work out all now. And so he's like, because cross country is over, so he's not working out right now. I think in his brain, he still can just like go outside and just beat me. But I'm determined. I'm determined to surprise him. And he might even still beat me, but I want to surprise him and like make it hard for him to beat me. But that's it. I think with the pandemic, I know me, I'm finding these new these new opportunities to like just see happiness, seize joy, and as far as your friends concerned and anybody else that when their body changes, like you don't have to have kids for your body to change when you get older. Like that's just, anybody can go through that. Finding milestones that you can digest to say, all right, maybe it's not my milestone to have a 6-inch waist, but it's my milestone to go up and down the stairs without breathing hard every day. You find what you can do and you set your goal and try to hit it.
You're inspiring me. I need to go work out.
Shoot, get you a good podcast and get your 10,000 steps in,
There you go.
It's true.
I just have one last challenge related question. So on a recent Instagram live, Melinda Nehemiah said that originally you all were not told that there were going to be 2 phases of the final and that the 14 was going to be purged. Is that correct?
The 14? What's the 14?
That the fourth team wasn't going to get purged. Yeah.
I could tell you this. I don't want to say that wasn't said. I can speak to the fact that if it was said anytime after we got off those logs, then it went somewhere else because I sleep at night. I've been sleeping, let me put it this way, because of having all these kids, back to back to back like that, it's like you get into this weird sleep pattern where you're sleeping like for 2 hours at 12 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when nap time is. And then you go to bed at like 7:30 because that's when the littlest one goes to sleep, and you're waking up at like 4 in the morning to change diapers and all that other good stuff. So to be like standing on a log when like my circadian rhythm is that I'm normally like sleep, that threw me all the way off. Like I'd never done that before, ever, in any kind of way. So TJ could have said the Star Spangled Banner in Spanish and Chinese, and everybody would have gone to podcast and said, yep, he was in that joint, he was on that joint spitting rhymes, and he licked me in my face. And I'd be like, I missed all of that. Like, I don't know. Because I was in a zone. Like, that next morning when they finally gave us like uniforms, I was just like, tell me what we gotta do. He's like, we're gonna run in the woods that way. When he blow the horn, let's go that way. I said, fine. We going that way and we gonna run. Yeah, I was out of it, man. I was so out of it. But like I said, I know for next time. I've been working on some things.
I got you. Tia or Theo, do you have any challenge related questions left?
I mean,
No, but I
the
want to
randoms.
talk to you about John
to the
Brennan.
Oh yeah. John Brennan on stand-up show.
A lot of love between you guys lately.
Oh yeah, man. There's a kindred spirit I have with John. I told him, and a lot of people wouldn't even think this of me, but it's it's the absolute truth. People that really, really know like my backstory, they know about this part of it. But I spent many years like in church. Like I'm talking, I was in church every day. Like this is like when I was in middle school and like almost 2 years of high school. Like I was getting off of school, going to church and like Bible study and just into it. And I went to a Pentecostal church in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the time. Like I would take like 2 buses to get to the church. And if it was too cold and the bus wasn't coming, I would literally like walk to the church. And it was a solid like 4 miles from my house. And
Wow.
so, to make certain decisions, for yourself at a young age spiritually, and you have people in your life that kind of guide you through that work. As John told his story on Real World Homecoming LA, like I was sitting back, it took me back in time to a time where, there were people in my life that, are no longer here in the same way. But you talk about those milestones and those mile markers that kind of push you towards a certain aspect of just how you see the world. People that can be true to what their beliefs are and like stand by that, but without marginalizing any other people. Like those people are like, I cherish those folks. So, I just found connection. I found when he was like, I really don't want to talk about my personal intimate, business,
Right.
like I was sitting back like, absolutely. It's like if a certain, if Tammy and others are requesting that the house be very vulnerable to where they were and what their boundaries were at the time, why not respect this man's boundaries in the same way, even though that boundary isn't seen by society is something that's important, So that being said, I'm just like, I like John. And then when I heard the song, I Ain't Done Singing Yet, like, have you listened to that song yet? Like, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It talks about, you being on top one day and then the next day you're not on top and you got to reinvent yourself. But, you kind of care about what people think, but then you don't. You don't. You just take that one step and you let them know, but like, look, I'm not done yet. I'm not done growing. I'm not done learning. I'm not done loving. Come along if you want. I'm not sinking. I'm fishing. Like, it's a great song. It's inspiring. And,
I love that.
I want to see him win. Like, I want to see him like at the Grand Ole Opry because it's just kind of like, yes, it's like you gave up your dream to, spend time with your dad and to work at, the church, and you were called and compelled by God to do this other kind of work, but then you're also this artist. And just because you are a little bit older, and just because you're not like in this music industry and connected and, able to look your nose down on people like people do, there's still space for you to still be successful. So I was like, I want John to win. Like, I want him to win so bad. I want him and I want David Edwards to win, for two very different reasons. But I want Dave to just, and if you're watching this, Dave, I want you to win so that you can be here for your grandkids and your great grandkids. I want you to be that old man telling somebody to go get you a glass of water. You're brilliant and you're talented, and you got so much for the world to see. Mm-hmm. I want you to be here. And that's what I got. Because I had time to, I met Dave Edwards. We were on the same challenge together.
Yeah.
So, I spent time with Dave, and, we had some other conversations at a very different stage of my life. I was a kid then, but, like I said, I want to see him win for different reasons. But, in terms of just, having a dream and you go and do some really important work, but you still have your dream, I want to see John, really be able to, at the very least of things, have his exit song be, I did everything that I came here to do, and I have zero, there's nothing that's left undone. There's nothing where I'm sitting back wondering if it could be. When he lost his dad, it's like, I know what that feeling is like when you lose a parent before your parent can kind of see you come, full circle. I want that for him. And he gave me one more song to have in my little phone. And it's funny because he sent me a CD, and the only CD player I have is in my vehicle, because I got an older vehicle. I got like an '08 vehicle. So that's the only CD player I got. So I love singing in the car. So I put a CD in and I was blasting that joint. I was like picking up my kid, and the parents looking in the car, like laughing at me because, I'm sitting here blasting this country song in the middle of DC, I'm jamming, like I'm on it, and, for everything that our family's been through in the last year, to be able to say a year later after that, January 2020, I got my John Brennan shirt. I got a CD blasting. I done went on the Maya Riviera and jumped on some trampolines and jumped to some notes, and we don't have COVID anymore. And, we've, in a sense, as a family, we have triumphed certain adversities. Like I said, John Brennan's song is a part of that story too. And I just, like I said, I appreciate him. I definitely do.
I love that. That's so nice. Yeah.
It is. God damn.
He seems like a nice guy. I know you got me all on my feels right now.
I know.
I'm telling you, I'm looking around because I think I left the case in the car, but oh wait a minute, no, it's right here. It's right here underneath this thing right there. But yeah, it is the joint right here. The John Brennan I ain't done singing yet.
I love the cover art, like the shirt.
Yeah, it got the maxi single,
nice.
So it has Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky on it. It has I Just Stood There, I'm Only in It for the Love, and Here in the Real World, and of course the number one song, I Ain't Done Singing Yet. So, I'm be open. Like, if y'all watching this podcast and you're like, man, I don't listen to country music, listen to the daggone song. You may find inspiration in something that you don't normally listen to. If you look into my title, you're not gonna see a whole lot of country in my title, in my playlist or whatnot. I'm a big hip hop, so I got hip hop in my playlist. A lot of jazz, a lot of Afro beats. But John Brennan is on I have this playlist that I have is called Wake Up and Slay Sis. And it has like Beyonce on it. It has Eurythmics, it has, just things that help me get hype. It got like Orange 9mm on it, Bad Brains, and it got John Brennan on it. So
love it.
I love it.
Check them out. Check out, especially this one song. Like singing this song in the morning, it gets your blood flowing. It really does. It's like cardio for the throat.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to add it to my Spotify.
Yeah,
have to
man,
check it
cardio
out
for
too.
the throat, you know. You went to the gym twice today? Yeah. First time I was in my car. John
There you go. There you go. Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, I have a few random questions I'm going to ask that we like to do for fun.
I
I
do.
mean, I will ask one thing.
Oh, go
If it's
ahead.
okay to you.
Yeah.
Just, is there any other fun moments that we didn't see due to maybe the edit or anything like that on the show?
I think more tundra. More tundra. Like,
More time.
Tundra had a whole lot more to give, man.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and then Ain't It, which is
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Derek as Ain't It was definitely a moment. Let's see here. What else did you kind of see? Because I can't really talk about like what was completely cut out because that's
right.
kind of like a violation. Because that just wasn't part of the story that they told. But in terms of what y'all saw that I would have loved for y'all to see more of, yeah, definitely Tundra, definitely Ain't It. Tina as prankster. Tina was a big prankster. Like there were more pranks than just the dissolving draws. Like
I would have loved to have seen them.
there were more
Same.
pranks.
Oh, they should have showed more.
Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. I think I can safely say that without spilling too much tea. But yeah, I really hope that at some point it makes sense to the network folk to say, you know what, we need to have a challenge All Stars Uncut and here's some of the stolen moments that y'all didn't see that were hilarious. But yeah, there's one thing we were just talking about it like 2 days ago. Tina called check on me when my mother-in-law passed. She was like, we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, they need to show more of your pranks. And she's like, well, which one was your favorite? And I told her, and she's like, that's right. And she's like, people were mad at me for that one. I was like, I wasn't mad. I was like, it helped the time move from point A to point B, because I think too, like her pranks, because it, like I said, it takes up time and it takes up space, it keeps you from getting caught up in a lot of that he said, she said, because you're in the middle of a prank. So, yeah, I think Tina as prankster, it would be interesting if they, would decide to share that with the world.
They need to bring bring back the shit they wouldn't show, or what was that they used to have?
The shit they should have shown.
That, yeah. They need to bring that back.
They do.
Real quick.
I agree.
Like
Real
Cops
quick, I wanted to ask you about MJ calling you extra. How did you feel about that?
Say, MJ, how you gonna win $500,000 now? You gonna call me extra? Come on, come on now. Look, MJ, my birthday is in November. You owe me a birthday present or something. Like you gonna call me you gonna win the whole bag. Cause see, watching the challenge and seeing how close John A and MJ were to just being like, we out. They kind of got a gift in me, running out of gas. They kind of got a gift because, they easily could have been us, just looking at the show, so leave me alone, MJ. You don't want to come online for me because I'm getting good at online a little bit. I'm getting good at the clap. You don't want to clap back at the superhero. Don't do that. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone, MJ. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Or his Greek salad is next.
Oh, no. I gotta love MJ, man. I told somebody else on another podcast, they're like, people, if you look at the early part of the show, I was in a bunk bed and my bunk bed was over MJ's bed. And like when he sleeps, he has this real rhythmic breathing situation. Like he's like, it's like this breathing that's just like kind of, that's melodic. And I was like, oh, that's kind of soothing. Like that's chill. Like, so, going from, not having any sounds in my room but my own, when I sleep to hearing rhythmic sleep sounds. That was like the good thing that I could say about MJ. He was always kind to me. He was never unkind to me the whole time I was there. But yeah, don't come for me online post show, MJ. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Mm-mm.
No.
So I have just a couple of fun random questions. Would you survive a zombie apocalypse? And if so, do you think, or if not, how long do you think you'd make it?
I would survive a zombie apocalypse because I go find Brad Fiorenza to help me survive. Listen, when he ripped them boxes off that off that daggone truck, I thought TJ was gonna give it to him because I'm just like, damn, he really won't be in the final. He was like, rawr! Like I'm taking the whole goddamn truck. I'm taking the box. I'm ripping the whole thing apart. I'm in the final. I'm like, okay, he going to the final. You know, he ripped it up. He incredible the whole thing. But yeah, I would survive a zombie apocalypse for sure, you know, especially if I had somebody like Brad by my side. Because first off, you know, the door will not be locked. Like if we're running from the zombies, you know how in a zombie movie, like you run up to like the fence or the door and it can't open? Nope. Brad gonna break that shit down. He gonna open it. He gonna be holding the door in his hand. Like he gonna be like, "Caw-caw." And I'll be like, thanks, Brad. And I keep running from
You can just hide in his beard. Just crawl in there and hide.
Yeah, man. I go find Brad. Yeah, man. It'd be like me. It'd be like me, Brad. It'd be like me, Brad, his girl, you know, and repopulating the earth. You know, Tundra would probably roll up because you know Tundra gonna survive the zombies too. Because Tundra, you know,
Yes, she will.
That is the answer.
Yeah, but Terry gonna survive the daggone zombies too, because you know he gonna bring the business. He gonna give them the business. So you know,
I think Kahada would survive out of everybody.
Listen,
yeah.
Let me tell you something.
That man could live in the middle of nowhere.
First off, we would know where Kahada was till after everything was over, and Kahada come out his hole with his like 18 children and shit. He'd be like, "Oh, y'all thought y'all was running things? No, we got a whole nother nation over here that we done built while y'all asses was out there, you know, trying not to get your guts ate out." Like, nah, Kahada's a non-factor because he's gonna already be alive in his bunker that he built 10 years ago.
It's completely accurate. I feel like that's completely accurate.
You'll be watching old challenge episodes in the basement while we freaking, you know, eating old bacon
we're
like
eating
I
everybody.
Am Legend. You know, we'll be eating old bacon and putting bleach on our front steps and trying to Will Smith it out. He gonna be watching his TV and everything.
That is true.
Bison.
Well, obviously you call yourself Ayanna Superhero on social media. So if you could choose any superpower, which would you choose?
Oh, I'd be invisible.
Good one.
Yeah, I'd be completely invisible. And then I'd be able to turn it on and turn it off like Bilbo. I'd just be like, I'm here. I'm not here.
You just walk right into the banks.
I'm here. I'm not here. But I'm here though. You just can't see me. Yeah, I'd be invisible. I wouldn't even use my powers for evil. I wouldn't steal. But I like invisibility because sometimes you can see the beauty that doesn't present itself when a person is trying to hide. So I'd like to be invisible to see more beauty.
I like that.
On other people's conversations.
Oh yeah, you could.
That's what I would do.
Or I just be creepy and I just like sneak in on, you know, random people sleeping. Somebody else told me, they're like, yeah, she's creepy. Like she would watch somebody sleep. I'm like, well, if you're fine, I might watch you sleep. It's been a long time, you know. I might, you know, if it's that good, I might have to watch you sleep. You know, be ready for when you wake back up again. Be like, okay, let's go. Round 2.
All right, last question. If you could visit anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Oh man, anywhere I haven't been, where would I go? I would like to. I'd like to go to Paris. I like to see the masterpieces. You know, I would also like to go to Egypt. I would love to see like the pyramids and the tombs. You know, there's a couple of tombs that have recently been discovered that, you know, not a lot of people are allowed to go in. So, you know, I would like to go to Egypt and experience something like that. I'd also like to go really, really, really deep into the ocean, like where the fish and the animals are like neon colored because they've never seen the light of day. I would like to do that, but I would just hope that there would be no random sea alien mystery monster that would like come in our submarine and like try to eat my face off and like the movies like
Be like Sharknado out there in the middle of the
in
ocean.
space. I would like to go to space, man. I like to go to space, like one of them galaxies way far out.
William Shatner did it.
Well, they didn't go to another galaxy. They just went up and
No, he just went up. Yeah, but still, that's crazy.
They went up in the Bezo.
I'd be terrified.
They went up in the big Bezo, you know? You talk about what a rich free person does. It's like, I'm going to make a big old spaceship shaped like me.
Yeah.
Go up in the sky. And so, and I'm going to put William Shatner in me. And I'm going to shoot him up into the galaxy. No, like the type of drugs that you take that have you come to like that kind of a consciousness, and like how that
we can't afford those kind.
Can't afford those kind of drugs. I gotta stick to how they say Bartles and James wine coolers. You know, I can't even get that kind of good liquor. You know, but no, but seriously, like I would like the new the James Webb telescope. I would love to like go out to one of those galaxies that are like millions and millions, 25 million light years away. And I don't know if I get out the ship. I don't know if I get out, but I might get out if I feel safe enough to like breathe on my own in like a suit or something. I might. I'm kind of that balls to the wall kind of girl. I might get out.
Or get abducted by aliens. I'd be too afraid. They'd be like, come on. They're just like waiting. They're like hunters in the bush. It's just like, come on. Step onto the, come on. And then just snatch you up.
Listen, if the aliens look like tech, they can take me any day.
I will second that.
I mean, like, it's a whole nation of y'all. I'm gone. Take me. I'm gone.
We can get you the Carrie Fisher bikini and everything.
To be sitting there like on Jabba the Hutt, like sitting there on the ground. They got me, y'all. Sorry, kids. I can't come back home. They got me.
Like, Ayanna, we have unlocked you 5 times and you keep locking yourself right back in.
And there it is.
You're like, got me. I'm not leaving now.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going anywhere. Go on ahead and play on that weird organ one more time. We're going to dance.
Well, this was so much fun. Thank you again for sitting down with us, chatting with us. Can you let everybody know where they can find you in social media land if they're not following you already?
Oh man, yeah. Just again, I'm new to this whole world like of social media in a sense of, you know, engaging with a lot of people that I've never met before. So I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter hardcore right now. I'm still trying to get used to TikTok and transforming like Facebook into something that I can use in this space. I'm having a tough time, y'all. So, you know, I'm raising my hand. I'm the one in the back of the class. Like, I need a tutorial. So I'm really tough. Like, I'm not very good at Facebook with this whole challenge stuff. But yeah, on Instagram, I'm Ayanna Superhero. On TikTok, Ayanna Superhero. I don't have nothing up on TikTok yet, but I'm gonna have something up soon. And then on Twitter, Ayanna Superhero. And I'm real accessible. You know, just hit me up. If you're negative, I will just block and delete you. Like, I don't have no chill. If you want to be negative, y'all go be negative over in y'all negative land. But
are you a Scorpio?
I'm Sag all day.
Oh, you're Sagittarius. Okay.
My mama was a Scorpio. I got strong Scorp influences. My son is a Scorp, so you know I'm bookended by Scorpio. But every moon in this, they did my star chart when I was born, and all the moons and the planets, everything but Mercury was in Sagittarius, and Mercury was in Scorpio.
Wow.
For everything, all that little interplanetary alignments, everybody was in Sagittarius when I was born. So
that never happens.
Shoot, we check. I'm real. Anything
I
I've ever
know.
written,
That's why I'm like, that is insane.
yeah,
I don't know
everything.
what any of that means.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
man.
I'll do
really
your
follow
birth
it
chart
much
for you
either.
one day, Tia.
Mhm.
I've done
You
mine.
do
It's
that.
like the time of day you're born, with the day that you're born, with where you were
Hmm.
like in the planet, like where your location was. It's like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
It tells you what your rising, which is like, your main one, and your moon, your Mercury, your Mars, your Pluto, your rising house, your descending. Girl, I'll do it for you. Don't worry.
yeah.
Okay. I'm
I've
So
done
either
believing.
it
the
for
guy that
myself.
did mine, like either the guy that did mine in 1981 was lying, or everything was in Sagittarius.
I believe you. It's
But
just
it's
mind
81,
blowing
so anything goes, Like in 81, the common cold was called coronavirus. And yeah,
because that's what it is.
that's what it is. But it's weird because like folks will like put that up like on the internet, like they'll say this book says that the common cold was coronavirus. And I'm like, that book was published in 1981. So, we were chewing gum out of Garbage Pail Kid packs in 1982. That hard gum that you had to get
Yes.
real wet, and then it would like
Yeah.
dissolve and it would never even be chewy. We did a lot of things in the 80s that I probably wouldn't hold on to today. So just think about that, young kids.
Facts. Facts. Well,
Well,
everyone,
if you want to learn more about Facebook, you can join our page. We'll talk you
yeah,
through it.
Yeah.
we have a fan group on Facebook called the Challenge Unbothered. We also have Entertainment Unbothered, where we talk about everything else outside of the challenge. Our YouTube page is the Unbothered Podcast, IG the Challenge Unbothered, and Twitter at Unbothered Pod 1.
All right. Cool. Cool.
We're rebuilding the Twitter because Joe got the last one shut down.
Oh, Joe.
Fighting too many people on behalf of some of our faves. So thank you again so much, Ayanna, for joining us. I hope you have a great weekend. Once we get all this edited, we will tag you in all the posts. Hope that you share it. And just, thank you. And to everybody who's watching, if you had a negative opinion before, I hope if it didn't change, then you were not paying attention.
Yeah, and if it's still the same, it's cool. And everybody can't like pizza. My daughter don't eat pizza.
Well, we
So,
don't like people who don't like pizza. Well, except for your daughter. She gets
Pizza? Oh, it's my favorite food.
right,
I love
right.
pizza.
So it's cool. Like I said, I'm all about if there's enough room. It's enough room for everything. It's enough room for spies and allies and how they get down. It's enough room for the all stars and how we get down. It's enough room for the old stuff, and it's enough room for the things that ain't even come to fruition yet. But I just thank you guys for taking the time out to care enough to reach out and provide a space for us to be free. This didn't even exist the last time I was on TV.
Yeah.
To be able to like connect
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
like
we
this.
get so much more information of things that we don't see or that's not explained to us because of podcasts and social media allowing the cast members like yourself to be able to speak out and correct what may be wrong or fill in the blanks because we're not seeing it. And it's just like, it just brings a whole new layer to this show.
Yeah, man. And like I said, I appreciate it. Like, cause back in the day, you would go home and whatever, somebody kind of took of you, you might not see them at all because, we don't have social media. So you might not see that person until like 2 years later. And they're coming up to you like, yo, so how's your mom? Because the last episode they saw was, your mom was alive. And it's like, oh, you didn't watch episode 814 when she passed away. And yeah, now my mom's gone. So long and short of it, just the access to information that can paint, I think, for those that are interested, they just can paint a more dimensional picture of all of us.
Absolutely.
And it just gives people the space. The folks that need to vent, they get a space to vent. The folks that want to be silly like me, we get a space to, be silly. And there's enough room. And I think that's a big part of just tolerance for others. Somebody had asked me, they're like, did you realize that they had Blue Lives Matter on the back of your water packs in the final? And I had to go back and look because I was like, I wasn't, I was tired and I was like, does that thing over there have water in it? Okay, I'm drinking out of that thing over there. But sure enough, went back and one of the packs had a symbol on it. For me personally, when it comes to a lot of the like politically charged issues and things that are happening right now in the world, there's so many different dimensions of it. On the surface, I can say, I support police and I support, folks coming into circumstances that are very dangerous, and having someone that's going to be on the side of bringing things calmer and restoring order, right? But I can also say, because we have this space and we have the internet, I can also say, when I was 9 months pregnant, 2 weeks before I had my baby, a police officer stopped me in front of my house and, made me stand there, while I went to the bathroom with myself because I was standing there, and he wouldn't let me go into my home. Like, that happened to me. That was a trauma while I was pregnant with my daughter. Like, that happened. I can be both. I can be somebody that's like, somebody tries to stab me, I want the police to come and say, stop stabbing her and take that person away. But I also have experienced trauma at the hands of police. So, having these podcasts and having these spaces, I think that it can allow folks a little bit of wiggle room to say, all right, maybe this person isn't all of one thing. Maybe they ain't all just this one-dimensional person. And I may not agree with like 90% of who they are, but this one part of who they are, I connect with it and I see what that is. And I find community just in that. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I will follow y'all on
Yay.
everything that I can follow you. If I don't follow you immediately, it's just for the fact that, like, my daughter was just in here with me this afternoon. I'm like, okay, should I follow this person? And she's like, no, that's a bot, Mom. Just delete that one. Just delete that one. Big Booty Kisses is not a real person. Just delete that one. And I'm being facetious, but it is what it is. But
no worries. We love it though.
Yeah, I'm taking baby steps with all of this because literally, again, 4.5 months ago, I was just a person at home with my little folks that I went to high school with and elementary school with and college that I was connected to online. And, you say happy birthday and you like their photos. And that was like the extent of it. So podcasts and engagement and likes and retweets and all of that, this is all very new for me. And I just, again, thank you for your patience as I try to navigate it all.
We're just glad you're back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're just happy you're back.
All
We're happy we can now follow you.
Well, look, and then, send me the information. I'll send you a little something, a little quirky thing. I'm into that right now. I just to thank you guys for taking this time out to, like, listen to me ramble and cut it into something that, is digestible by the people.
Absolutely.
But, just send me a mailing address. I'd love to send you a little quirky something or other, drawing my daughter dead or whatever. But
that would be cute.
I have to say, you have made me laugh more than any other interview we've done. So,
yes. Oh my gosh, I made you laugh more than Tech? Please.
You did, actually.
That's impossible.
I was so nervous to talk to him. I was just like,
oh my gosh, girl. Man, I'm telling you, like I said, this was a special season to me. I think we could have seen more Steve.
Yeah.
He kind of comes off as little, kind of, sketchy in this season. But, Steve is actually a very, very funny guy too, especially when he starts talking about the magic hands. And his hands are magic. They're so smooth. Like Dave Chappelle said, they're like small eggs. They're smooth like eggs. But he has these really like porcelain like hands and whatnot. And now I look at like ads for like hamburgers and I'll be like, I wonder if that's Steve. I wonder if that's Steve. So like I said, yes. I'm grateful, appreciative, and I know we getting in on our time, so I want to be respectful of y'all. Thank y'all so much. Have me back in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will. Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Ayanna.
No
you
problem.
too. Bye.